the paint.
Okay.
He was still in the paint in that game, but the one thing that San Miguel did very well in game number 3 was they gave Diamond Simpson different looks every time he touched the ball. They doubled early, they stayed single coverage, and they doubled off the dribble. And what happened, it seems that Diamond Simpson was also perplexed at kailan ba dadating yung double at ano yung depensa.
Exactly. And now, page number 1. Who do we begin with, my friend?
Now let's start off with San Miguel.
Yeah, Dr. J and I will take a look at it along with all of you, of course.
Now let's start off with San Miguel. Coming off that big win in game number 3. One thing that they did very well in game number 3, the point was able to steady the ship. We talked about Denok Miranda starting that game. He started, he had 6 assists, and what he did was actually have a guy that had experience in championship basketball. One thing that Alex Gabagnot does not have. After that, they finished it off with Olsen Racela, another guy with a lot of experience, and he killed Alaska with, like Dr. J said, 3 out of 3 from the 3-point line in that fourth quarter. And if you look at it, actually, yung troika nila, actually the 4 guys, or the point guards of San Miguel actually played better than LA in that game. And it was the first time that happened in the series. Next up, I think they have to continue to dominate the rebounds. Actually, in this series, they have won every game when it came to rebounding. But in game number 3, it was almost absurd. 49-29 in favor of San Miguel. Finally, they have to keep Freeman on the floor. Game number 1 was the best scoring output of Gabe Freeman, but it's not about scoring when it comes to this guy. He has to stay on the floor, and he has to be able to give that energy and be able to allow his teammates na mahawa doon sa energy na dinadala niya. Game number 3, 42 minutes, it was a victory. First 2 games, only 32 minutes, and that meant a lot.
No use to the team if he's not on the floor, Dr. J.
Well, what I like, number 1, tama siya. Olsen Racela and Dennis Miranda have won championships in the PBA. They've won championships in the Philippines in college basketball. So they know how to play. I do not belittle the qualities of Alex Gabagnot, but he has yet to be proven in a championship series in the PBA. So in that sense, he's correct. Freeman kept himself on the floor, even though when he committed fouls early, he took up his hands. I think, we know this, and you and I have been in the PBA a long time. The coaches like to tell the referees, let us play. You put it in the papers, they'll let you play. And they'll let you play in game number 3.
Okay, let's flip the page, Jason, and let's go through Alaska's agenda.
Well, for Alaska, they are still up to 1. No need to panic. They just have to get back to what they were doing in the first 2 games. What were they doing? In games number 1 and 2, they were the team that dictated the pace and tempo. And I've said this before. With Alaska, you just don't look at fast break points. You look at what they're doing on the court. When LA is on the floor, he is the guy with the baton. He is the maestro at saying, tatakbo ba tayo o hindi? But in game number 3, he was unable to do that because San Miguel was able to dictate pace and tempo. Next up, the bench must compete. In game number 3, actually, maganda yung scoring ng bench nila. But when the bench entered in the second quarter, that was the period in which San Miguel really built a big lead. Yes, their bench is not as strong as San Miguel, but when you look at the minutes that they play, as long as they're effective, their team can stay within the game. And of course, like we said, they already won 2 games. Finally, get Simpson back on track. Simpson had his worst game of the series in game number 3, maybe just a down game, but he has to be prepared at the different looks San Miguel is going to throw at him. And he's a quick learner. He's very young, but he has the maturity well beyond his years.
And I'm sure Tim and Mr. Simpson have talked about this stuff today.
Obviously. I think the very important thing there is the number 2 thing. Larry Fonacier, Cuneta, Borboran, they'll come in and give big contributions to their team. But just like any team, if the starting 5 plays well, as long as they compete or they give you a lead, it's easy to get points from people coming off the bench. They are very, very motivated.
Okay, we will continue to pick the brains of our 2 experts here today. But down on the floor is Magu Marjan, and he has this report.
Coach Shotang Kinsent was relieved that the Beermen finally did all the little things defensively in game number 3, which shot him have 13 takeaways and scored 28 points off turnovers. He reminded the boys to keep playing with their identity or to their identity and continue the defensive intensity. That was the key that brought them here to the finals. And while they are anticipating some adjustments from Alaska, he doesn't want to worry the players too much, but reveals that they are prepared for what may come. That is what's going on here at the Beermen's camp. Let's send it over to the Aces, where Cheska Linton is standing by.
Thank you, Magoo. I got to talk to Coach Tim right before the game, and he just said, tonight they just have to have a physical nature when they get on the court. They have to be physically contained on the boards, and they have to make use of all their offensive options. They cannot allow themselves to get one-dimensional and rely on diamond the entire time. SMB, the Beermen do a lot of double teams, and they just need to use their other parts of their offense. As for the last game where they lost to the Beermen, Coach Tim just said, you know what, we're throwing that game out the window, we're throwing the tape out, that was not us, and we are going to get back to who we are tonight. Seb, Jason, and Andy?
Thank you very much. So many people to turn over to tonight, Jessica? In the meantime, the 10 gentlemen who will start this ball game are just about ready to be introduced. And let's listen to our Coliseum announcer for the formal introductions of the starting lineups for game number 4.
Game number 4 between the San Miguel Beermen and the Alaska Aces. Here are the starters of both teams. First, from your San Miguel Beermen. At guard number 32, Deno Miranda. Also at guard number 7, Don Ontiveros. At center number 29, Arwin Santos. At forward number 23, Jay Washington. And also at forward number 25, Gabe Freeman. Head coach of the San Miguel Beermen is Shot Duncanson. And now, here are your starters from your Alaska Aces. At guard, number 5, L.A. Tenorio. Also at guard, number 3, Cyrus Baguio. At center, number 34, Diamond Simpson. At forward, number 38, Joe Defense. And also at forward, number 35, Tony De La Cruz. Head coach for the Alaska Aces is Tim Cone. Our referees in the ball game are Noel Killingan, Peter Malo, and Nestor Simbano, with Joe Ngo as alternate referee. This game is under the supervision and regulation of the Games and Amusements Board. It's the Beermen versus the Aces. This is Game 4, PBA Atinto.
And we are just about ready to toss the ball into the air. And as it was announced, Killingan, Balao, and Zambrano are the gentlemen with the whistles. Gentlemen, any new changes? Is it standard issue for both clubs? I noticed Miranda's still there, Dr. J.
Well, obviously, they've been comfortable with Miranda going up against Eli. Ever since Sanitos got hurt, they put Tony De La Cruz into the starting lineup. And he's really been doing well. But Sanitos is ready to play.
Oh boy, he did come back in game number 3. And we are just about underway here in game number 4. Series at 2-1. Miranda's first shot, under goal basket. Jay Wash can get it to drop in, and Tenorio has his first touch.
Very interesting that Alaska will always stay underneath those screens when it comes to Denok Miranda. So Denok has to be able to make correct decisions once he goes screen roll.
Isolation play. The pop. No drop. And the rebound controlled by Miranda. Jay Wash, top of the keyhole. Miranda, traffic operator. Ontiveros pops. He's anxious for a big game.
He always plays well here in this Coliseum. At that Cuneta Astrodome, he does play well here. There are many playoffs that I've seen him play here, including last year against Tocatex, and he played well here in the All-Filipino tournament there.
And he is due because he hasn't had a good series so far.
8 points in the first game, 1 point in the second game, and 3 points in the third. We are down to 10 and 15 with only 2 points on the board. So far, they belong to San Miguel. That second quarter was the devastating quarter for Alaska. Was I correct in hearing you said 20 turnovers?
Slowly but surely, Miranda is beginning to gain confidence. And we know this guy has developed a medium-range jump shot. When he develops that confidence and hit those jump shots,
you'll have that confidence.
The table is he's mentally a very good physical player, very good defender, but he's one of those guys